Previously on All Hail Yog. Assembled in the land of Yoggoth, our four villains were set upon their sinister task to kidnap the newborn princess Nimria. For their dark gift, they chose a network of spies hidden throughout Symbia, the wood elven kingdom. Transported through a fissure in the earth, our villains now stand upon the borders of the Wombwood and must find a means to navigate the primeval forest that spans out before them. The adventure continues on the 51st of Hemsen, year 895 in the 4th age of Ondûn. This is The Child, Episode 3.
So the party is standing on the edge of the Wombwood, on the foot of the Green Guard Mountains, and our villains are looking out over the forest. What's the plan?
A wonderful question. We're all just kind of chilling there. Can I do perception to see if there's any, obvious entrance?
Okay, yeah.
Anything? Yeah! 24.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like you walk into the woods, right? The woods kind of bleed up onto the hills a little bit, so as you just descend down, you'd be out. You don't see any landmarks besides elevation in the forest, but there's no that's obviously a palace, right? Not that you can see. It looks like you just walk into the woods.
Do I see any, humanoid movement anywhere?
You don't see any humanoid movement, but there's movement of, the trees are shifting here and there, so that could be people moving in the trees. You're not sure. The forest isn't totally still. You're also still pretty far away. So even if there was someone down there, you might not necessarily see them.
Okay.
Can I figure out maybe if we're nearby any kind of settlement or a city or something like that?
You rolled pretty well in your history before. You know that all the locations inside the Wombwood, again, don't have a fixed point.
Right.
There's some kind of a magic that basically mixes everything up. So as you move into the forest...
Yeah.
Did you mean outside of the forest?
I did, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Outside
That's
the
okay.
forest.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. Should I roll a history?
You do history or survival.
Survival. I'll do history.
I'll do survival.
14.
15.
Yeah, there are lots of small settlements of logging towns and things that are located in the Green Guard Mountains, but this area where this fissure is, people have cleared out. No one wants to be near anything that is any kind of indication of Yog. And even this is kind of secret. If people knew that this was here, they might try to move to close it or do something like that. Right. So you think it would be a fair distance, and again, with your survival, you maybe find evidence of trees being cut down in the area and stuff, but you think that once this fissure opened, people cleared out. No one wants to be around the presence of Yog, basically.
I was just thinking if we found an elf outside of the woods, probably would be better. So I was trying to find one in the woods, which we could do that, and we probably would eventually find one, but it might just take longer.
What do you want to do?
Yeah.
I kind of just want to head towards the woods.
Okay. Just want to go in?
Yes. Yeah. Because, once we get there, we can kind of just think, take us to the palace emissary group or something like that. I don't know.
Sure.
But we're not elves. It's not going to work on us.
Well, I look like an elf.
But you don't know if someone might find you or something.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, because if you just, think it.
Okay.
We mustn't
I'm
tarry.
cool going, too.
Yog knows. He watches. Quickly.
Look back towards the fissure, and then as you say Yog watches, there's sort of a sound from the fissure, right? You feel a little pulse from your mark.
And I look down at it. All hail Yog. All hail Yog.
But really, though, honestly, all hail Yog. I mean, I can't stress this enough.
I know I say that a lot, but guys, all hail Yog.
Just to make sure
great.
you know how I feel.
Desdemonia turns and just starts sauntering down the hillside.
Correct.
Just the rest of the group.
And I follow,
Okay.
sort of hunched over.
Are you both hunched? We have two hunched dudes?
I guess so.
Hunching
Yeah, if you're
along with
hunched
each
a
other?
lot.
No, that's great.
I mean,
funny.
yeah.
You have, a
Elizabeth
Mad
will,
Men
come shambling behind you. There's a little bit of air, escaping her lungs. You're not sure if she's making a sound voluntarily or if it's just...
breathing.
Yeah, just the motion of it, because it doesn't breathe, right? The motion of its body.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Elizabeth, I love you too. Yes. Let's go. This way. Ooh.
You're helping her over stairs.
Yeah.
I give a
And he gives her a shot of something.
Oh, boy.
Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know what it is.
Some horrible plunger into her body. She kind of quivers a little bit. She keeps coming, whatever it was.
Desdemonia sees all this go down, and she just kind of gives an okay.
Listen, I thought I was kinky, but what's that about?
Though.
I'll offer you some of what I gave her.
Oh my god.
Good.
You want some?
Maybe later. We'll talk about this later.
Okay.
Stashes it in his bag.
What is it?
I assume you come with, Agnoment?
Yeah, I'll follow behind.
Okay. Just trumpets playing wherever you go. So you guys head down the hills and in towards the forest. Kind of the trees get thicker and thicker as you're moving into it. You notice a few things. You're maybe like 10 minutes sort of over the threshold of the point where you really consider yourself in the forest, and it's like as though there was no other world but this forest. Any trace of the outside world is sort of gone, and you're now just walking through this incredibly thick, sort of impenetrable woodland. It's all very claustrophobic. There's almost like a muffling of your footsteps, and whenever you speak or any of your breathing, kind of sounds like it's sort of underwater, like it gets muffled, as though all the sound is kind of deadened inside of it. Very little sunlight kind of penetrates through the trees. Every once in a while you'll see a few glimmers of it, but it's kind of dark and musty in here. There's lots of moss growing on all the trees. A couple things you would notice. Give me perceptions beyond that for like other weird things.
9.
9, okay.
Also 9.
9.
13.
8.
You notice a couple of things, Erick. You notice, like, whenever you kind of turn your gaze, that the forest changes. So you think you know where kind of all the trees are when you're looking this way. If you turn and say something to someone and turn back, the arrangement of the trees is different. So you're almost instantly sort of disoriented as to where your actual position is in the forest. It's hard for you to like sort of find your way back. This probably happens early when you realize this. It has this like clear maze-like magical effect. In addition, you also hear from under your feet, there's like very slight sort of like seismic activity happening. Something creaking and groaning and rumbling under your feet. Like not like a danger, but just like there's always something sort of slithering or moving under your feet kind of at all times.
I think my eyes grow large, and I get closer to the ground. Place my yog hand.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yog hand.
Yog
Upon
hand
the
TM.
ground, and I do a nature check.
Go for it.
8.
Yeah, you're not sure. There's some sort of something slithering around under there. It could be an animal. You really don't know, but it feels unnatural to you. Yeah.
Watch your steps. Watch them.
What do you see?
Oh, hell yeah.
It's not what I see, but what I hear. Oh.
Here? Something weird?
Here in this place, I hear.
Something strange?
Something good.
Hopefully not.
Let me see. Can I do a nature check?
Yeah.
26.
When Erick points this out to you, you can kind of place your hand on the ground and start to feel it out. And you realize that it isn't a creature moving. The roots of the trees are moving underneath the ground, kind of twisting and sensing and reaching. And you can kind of feel them. It's almost as though they're like serpents or something kind of slithering under the dirt. And even as you watch, you can kind of see that the ground moves a little bit. You're not sure if they're doing something or if they're just kind of perpetually writhing. But yeah, the roots seem to be sort of restless under the ground.
The trees, my boy, they're moving. Forever changing.
Are you guys trying to just wander? Are you trying to head somewhere in particular? Do you want to try to avoid detection? Or are you just kind of walking into the forest and waiting to see what happens?
I think we want to go to the palace, right? We could see the hidden palace, but I don't know if the trees would guide us there.
In my mind, I want to find an elf to
Okay.
help us infiltrate,
Perfect.
I guess. You are disguised as an elf as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm thinking that's the first thing I want to find is an elf, but also go to the palace. Like,
Yeah.
obviously.
Great.
Yeah.
I forget if we said your shape-shifting affects your clothing.
I think I can, I can affect my clothing.
Okay, great,
because
cool.
otherwise
So
I'm just
what
walking
is your
around
outfit? What kind of elf are you dressed as?
I want to kind of look like an elf ranger.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a history check to know what kind of outfit that would be. Because you haven't seen one, probably.
13.
Okay, yeah. You know that they wear armor that is basically made out of leaves. So the idea is that there's a spell called Ironwood that if you cast it on wood, it sort of turns it hard as steel. So they make sort of like scale mail armor out of leaves. So you can make like a facsimile of that. It probably can't be that hard, but like it looks like that. So you can have this sort of elven like green armor. You'd also probably have a helmet similarly that's like 2 huge leaves that kind of come together like that.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. If you are trying to find something in particular, then I will need a survival check from someone who is the guide of the party. Does anybody have survival or feel like they want to be the leader here?
I'm not great at it.
I have survival, but I don't think that Agnoment would really lead. Like, I'm here to do the job.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
like, I can help, but I'm not really going to instigate.
I mean, my fear of Yog might push me forward.
Okay.
My fear of failure. So, I mean, I've got a +3, but
Sure.
as far as character motivation, I think, I don't.
Yeah.
wanna-
You want to try to guide. I mean, and when I say lead, I don't necessarily mean like I'm the leader, I make the decisions. It's who's going to guide on the path, right?
there,
Yeah,
yeah.
go for it.
So towards the palace, hopefully trying to find an elf on the way there.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds
Well then, I stand up slightly and sort of eye the trees, seeing them in a different way that I didn't before. Oh my god, natural one.
Okay.
Oh no. And I start to panic. I see the trees and they almost grow and their leaves become menacing poison.
You're seeing
in my
faces
eyes.
in the wood, right? Yeah.
I'm
just
starting to
Snow
lose
White.
for that brief moment where I felt leadership within me. I howled.
You regret it instantly.
Desdemonia will try because she's.
Well, I think he leads for a little bit.
Yeah?
I don't know if
Cool.
you. It's up to you. Do you think you just instantly quail and back
No,
down?
no. I mean, I just lose confidence in that moment
Yeah.
because I have no information to give.
You guys will sort of follow along. He kind of leads you for, we'll say, a couple of minutes.
Sure.
Anyone, if they want to, can make an insight check to basically figure out he's doing a shit job. He doesn't know what he's up. Yeah.
This way. This way.
16.
Maybe?
Yeah.
No, that way.
I got an 8. I think you're doing great.
But the two of you get a sense he's lost and, yeah, I mean, looking around, making right and left turns.
This way, maybe.
Yes, keep following your instincts. Yes.
I walk up to him and kind of like put a clawed hand on his back to stop him. Then I walk up to a tree and just like put my hand on it and just like think palace.
Sure.
I don't do any better. I got a 3.
It's the secret, right? If you visualize what you want, then it will manifest. You touch the tree, and you feel the bark kind of like convulse away from you. Like it sort of doesn't like that you've touched it,
Yeah.
right? I guess, yeah, who's going to take the next step?
Well, I kind of want to watch her fail for a minute and then try.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
Jump in. No, wait. Yeah, no. Nat 1.
What?
Nat 1 also.
That one?
Yeah.
Describe it.
How did I do the best?
Yeah, what is going on here?
So I feel like I'm kind of watching this happen, and I'll like descend, like I'm gonna land on the ground, and like, oh no, no, like distracted and turned around, like what is it?
Where am I?
Because
Your
I
wing
didn't
gets
know
caught
that.
in a branch or something. Like, oh no, this is not
I
as
didn't
cool.
know it was doing this. I was like, oh, I hate the woods.
You're lost. You know, you have been insulted by this tree, and you are getting tangled in the branch. Give me a perception check, Doctor. Okay. You are the only one not currently occupied. Doctor.
The doctor.
God.
We'll see. 3.
Oh my God!
We're all doing
Holy
terribly in
crap.
this one.
Well, it's been a good campaign.
Yeah, you were all consumed from beneath.
The tree's just
So
eating
none
us.
of you notice then.
What is Elizabeth?
Can you roll for Elizabeth?
Yeah, see if she notices.
Give
Oh,
me.
I love the idea that she would know.
You're right.
She has the stats.
Yeah.
She's not great at perception though, in particular.
Probably not.
No, I think she's because she's got negative wisdom.
I have
Sorry,
animal
she's on
handling,
there,
and
all
I'm like
these
really
pages.
tempted to use.
My wisdom is 9, so that's a -1, right?
Yeah.
No, it's a 5. She
Okay,
doesn't
no, she
notice.
doesn't.
Oh, it's just a
But
bonus.
She's
that's
just-
the best roll so far.
Yeah.
It is. It really
The highest roll.
3,
of the-
1, 1, 3.
Wow. So maybe she does notice, like, just a second before it's sort of too late.
Yeah.
You just
There's
kind
like
of hear
grunt
a,
from her.
and you turn, and you see just standing between two trees is an elf. Just sort of having materialized from nowhere. Not wearing any armor, just kind of like a green sort of like homespun tunic that comes all the way down. They are male. They have sort of blonde hair that kind of comes down into some sort of complicated hair thing. And maybe it's the monster that looks at first, and then you get the attention you see look over you.
Oh, hello, yes.
He just sort of hold up his hand. Come no further. You cannot be here. You have no right to be here. This forest is under the sovereign protection of King Maurus and Queen Sion. I can guide you back out, but if you do not follow me back out, you will be dispatched. Do you understand? You cannot be here.
Can I do a perception check on this guy?
Sure. What are you trying to figure out?
If he's like a high-ranking, kind of like,
Okay.
I don't know, like,
Sure.
maybe his insight, maybe?
Insight might make more
His
sense,
alignment
yeah.
kind of a thing?
Like his
Yeah.
bearing.
Yeah.
Ooh, crit. So you think that he is not particularly like high ranking? You think he's basically like a border patrol? If someone wanders into Symbia, he comes out and
Okay.
what are you doing?
He knows his way around.
He has
for sure,
he has a
though.
lot of confidence though. He does not seem to think he's in danger from talking to you. He seems very confident. You imagine he's probably with your grit, he's not alone. And you probably even see his eyes go up to the trees a couple of times when he says dispatched. So you think there might be people around you in the forest or something that might be able to aid him. He seems very, very comfortable in his position. It's almost like you're a lost child that's wandered in here, right? But as he's sort of saying that, he's looking around, and you're an elf, so there's nothing overtly sinister about you,
Exactly.
right? You're just kind of shaking. He looks at you, and then his eyes slide up to Elizabeth, and you see his face kind of change a little bit. That like first you just kind of look like a weird bunch of humans. I guess we have huge wings, right?
All cotton branches. And
Yeah. And his like generosity is turning quickly.
I'll do a persuasion check.
Okay, go for it.
Can I help?
If you want to.
Yeah, jump in.
Yeah. If you want to jump
bonus
in.
action.
You look
Yeah,
like an
I
elf.
was like,
You look like an elf. Go for
So I can
it.
give you advantage.
Yeah,
for help.
then just roll another d20, and he can add his persuasion to it.
Cool. That's a 15 from mine. If you want to add it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll
it's a
take
15.
hers for sure.
So what do you say? How do you help his?
I kind of come forward by the doctor and go, "Hello, brother."
Sure. He'll kind of look over at you, and then seem more confused, and then look back.
Yes, we are here as diplomats, you see.
Diplomats from where?
Oh, we hail from Yog.
When you say that, you see him sort of like take a step back. He holds his hand up. If you move, any of you, I will pepper you full of arrows. You have one sentence to explain to me why I should not. Anyone can make persuasion.
Would you like?
Would you like I feel like we should cast the agent thing on him, right?
Yeah, we can. I'm down.
Sure.
If you want to.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's one
Yeah.
sentence that we have.
One of the first ones.
Yeah.
He's
Is that
one
what
of
we
the
do?
things. Yeah.
I mean,
So you
this
say
guy
like,
seems to
how
have
we're-
power within the.
Yeah, he could help
border
us.
But if
patrol.
he's like, yeah.
do you guys want to use it on him?
This is my suggestion.
We
There's
have
no
three.
rush.
I'm cool using one for sure.
Yeah.
This is a situation where I would think we could.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Sure.
He says that, and give me insights, actually, the four of you,
Okay.
when he does that.
22.
Mod
Great.
20.
Nice.
8.
Here we go.
19.
Okay, yeah. He doesn't wink, he doesn't do anything obvious, but you realize it's like a little theatrical. He's almost acting like, oh, how dare you, from Yoggoth, you say? Like, it's almost as though he's putting it on, right? But you get that sense that he's basically on your side, and whatever you say, he'll accept.
So I'll say, yes, but don't be afraid. We come in peace. We are not here to do harm or damage. We are here merely for diplomacy. To create a trust, potentially, with the people of the woods. And if it is not of your liking, we will leave. We will leave in peace. But we merely seek an audience with someone of higher ranking.
Can I do a history to see if I'm like, if I can like pretend I'm from another tribe or something that like brought them?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
17.
The way the Wood Elves work is that any forest of any size throughout the world develops a Wood Elven colony. So it would be very easy to say you were from like a forest on a different continent or whatever. You would still have fealty to the king of the Wood Elves and all that stuff, but it's totally conceivable. You could just make up the name of a forest if you want, but that's basically would be where you're from. If you want to give me some kind of a deception, you see him, he brings his hand down. You can go ahead and roll it. He brings his hand down and looks like he's considering it for a second.
23.
23.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Fear not, brother. I hail from the trees of Yog.
Well, okay. So let's say you probably wouldn't want it to be one that's on
So it shouldn't be on Yoggoth, but I should be nearby.
a different one.
Yeah.
There is a forest in Yoggoth called the Unwood, and
like,
it's
it
like
wouldn't have
weird
wood
and
elves
dark,
there, right?
and they have dark elves,
Okay.
but not necessarily wood elves. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the Torchwood?
Yes. I will absolutely say I'm from
Torchwood.
Torchwood.
Torchwood, you say? I see. We had expected emissaries from there for some time, and now that you are here, I apologize for my mistake. And he'll kind of make a gesture. You wish to speak to whom?
King Maurus and Queen Sion.
The king and queen.
The king and queen.
Yes.
I see. That is somewhat above my pay grade, but I may be able to speak with my compatriots and see if we can't potentially get you an escort, if that is what you are seeking.
If you could, brother.
It will be done. Stay here. And he turns and he like walks away into the woods, and after about 4 or 5 steps, he kind of turns around a corner and disappears. What do you guys do while he's gone?
I'll go check on Elizabeth and see how she's doing.
She's fine. She doesn't like, unless you give her a direct order, she just literally stands there. There's maybe like a dollop of drool that's coming out of her mouth that hangs there, like
doctor-
not quite dropping yet, but just sort of hanging there.
After everything that happens, he'll probably go and check on her and see how she's doing.
Yeah, and she's always the same.
Desdemonia really wanted to go pat him on the back, but then she saw that and she's just like, oh, God.
nope, too weird.
Not gonna touch.
Too creepy.
I think Erick is. I think his like nervous twitch as he runs his thumb over the mark on his palm.
That's cool.
As if like, are you still here?
They're retracing it.
Yog, are you still with me?
And you just get a little pulse of like heat from it when you do that. Yeah. What about Agnoment? Have you disentangled yourself?
Yeah, I think I've regained composure and am staring dramatically off into the distance. I'm probably, whenever like inactive for too long, I'm probably just like muttering about like how horrible the world has gotten and all of the sinners and how everyone.
That's weird.
Just like muttering weird zealot sermons to myself about like you have to.
When you're standing there, Agnoment, you see that a deer kind of walks past and stops and turns its head and just walks over to you. Like this, it's a doe, right? Like it's a female, like with the big floppy ears, and it's like standing maybe 10 feet away and just kind of looking at you.
I'll like, pet it.
Sure. Give me animal handling.
13.
Yeah, it will basically stand there in a way you've never really seen. Maybe you've experienced this a little bit, but the rest of you can see this is very unusual. They are just kind of like sitting here petting this wild animal,
muttering my sermon to the
whispering
deer.
at it. Yeah.
I want to stealth really close behind her and just be like, oh, yeah, I got a 28.
What's your passive perception?
Oh, 9.
9. So you just materialize.
I'm just like right behind a wing, just like the world.
Just assume you're here for my sermon.
The deer doesn't even notice you. Like it just has its eye closed. It's getting petted. Yeah. Do you do anything when you're back there? Or you just
No, I just kind of want to like creep her around, just like what in the world is going on here? Why is she petting this adorable little animal? Should she be killing it?
And then me and the animals start cleaning.
I see this and I head over to her.
The deer, as
To
you get
them,
closer,
sorry.
the deer tenses.
And I ask them, "Do you speak of Yog?
I speak of many things.
Of which includes Yog? All hail the wrath of Yog?
It could include some things it's done and will do for the worlds and other gods."
Careful of what you speak. I'm thumbing over the palm print. For words perhaps were only meant to praise him. Believe me, I know. I've learned. I look up at the trees quickly, and then back down at the ground.
When you look up at the trees, you see that a couple of birds have kind of fluttered over and are now sitting, and they're looking at you and looking back and forth. Like animals are almost kind of like converging on the spot where you guys are.
That's awesome.
Around.
Just around the group in general, but the deer
yeah.
went to Agnoment in particular.
Yeah.
Anything else? Do you want to reply to that, Agnoment? Are you good?
Words can sometimes mean nothing in the face of deeds.
When you say that, you see the elf sort of materializes from around the tree. I have been given clearance to escort you to Vairquethrolas, and perhaps to arrange a meeting with the king and queen. Are you prepared to depart now?
Yes.
We are.
Yes, we are ready.
Good. Come with me. He gives you kind of a like, don't fuck this up for me. And he turns and starts to just walk through the forest.
Your soul is not important to us.
Desdemonia is as close as
If you
she
die,
can be
it
to
means
him.
nothing.
Okay, yeah, you want to kind of get up close to him?
I'm right
the
up in
hand
there.
like on his hip already.
Yeah. Are you trying to just like get friendly with him? Do you want him to have a positive opinion of you, or are you just doing it
No,
to,
I'm
to
just-
fuck with him?
I just have zero awareness of
Oh,
like a personal
personal
bubble. So I'm
bubbles?
just like
Yeah.
right up by him and just kind of like weirdly inspecting him as though like walking.
He's like walking, like giving you the look over his shoulder, like what the? But he's not gonna turn and engage.
You can
right?
like feel my breath on his shoulder. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh.
He's gonna be insight. He can tell something is different about you. You don't act like a wood elf at all, but he doesn't know obviously what that means. You guys walk through the forest for probably about an hour before anything happens. Again, these animals kind of keep appearing and like hanging out near the group. Squirrels kind of running along the branches. Deer in like two larger groups, like 5-6 groups of deer will kind of just come by and look at you guys. And again, remains very claustrophobic, very little sunlight. The forest is kind of shifting. Anything you guys want to do on this little hour-long walk as you're just being escorted?
I mean, maybe Elizabeth needs a new ear or something like that.
Getting some work done.
You're eyeing that doe.
Yeah.
Oh no! I think they will not look fondly upon that.
Give your cover away.
Yeah. No, maybe that was not the.
But you're like sizing it up.
I'm
you're-
like thinking.
You're
like,
thinking about it.
Like,
yeah.
that's a pretty sexy ear right
That's a
there.
good ear. That's a good ear. She
like
needs
that.
a new left one.
Like that ear. Yeah, we cut to the left ear. It's kind of tattered. And like
Yeah,
half bitten
it's like
off.
she
a
does.
dog got at her.
She
Yeah.
needs a new one.
Great. You're getting too close to the elf guide. You're sizing up ears. You're hanging out with animals. What are you doing?
I think I'm right behind Desdemonia.
Okay.
I think the couple of odd moments in which she like scratched up my back and clenched my shoulder, I think
I think she's entered my stratosphere of power. I
Yeah,
think. She's no Yog, but like there's something peculiar about her that I think,
And I think
I'm a little afraid of her.
I think you can sense too that like they're working for Yog, you're working for Yog. She is of Yog. She's almost like a creation of Yog. So she has a lot more of that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I place her above me for sure.
After an hour of walking, you can occasionally see like a leaf or something will fall from the trees. You think you're being followed by figures up in the boughs. You come to an area where instead of, it's been all kinds of different trees, elms and oaks and things, you see a very unusual setup of trees in front of you, and they don't shift when you turn away. They sort of remain there. There are 5 trees that are like huge, like redwoods, these big roots that come way out in this huge spread. They're probably about 50 feet across, so they're massive. And then they just shoot upwards into the canopy, like way past the point where you can't see them anymore as other trees come in. And they are ghostly white. And there are 5 of them. So there's one. For those of you listening to the podcast, you can't see this, but I have a very trashy map that I'm showing the players, and it's not.
It's just full of curse words.
Yeah.
God, I didn't even know that one.
It's not
Some doodles on the side.
up to my standard. You guys approach, and there are 5 of them. So there's one here, 3 there, and one sort of in the back. You guys are coming in this way, and they're just huge, going all the way up like that. The elf guide will kind of stop and look at you. I will go ahead and speak with them, see if I can't arrange this. Do not cause any trouble while I am gone. When he says that, give me insight checks from everybody.
9.
8.
9,
17.
14.
14. You get the sense that he basically means the opposite. He's saying that if you're going to do something, do it now, instead of let me go up there and ask, because that will basically alert them, right? Is sort of the implication he's saying. So like, this is about as far as he's going to help you out. You're here now, and then
We're in the palace?
you think this might be
The entrance.
the entrance.
So we should
yeah,
just go in.
it's basically what he's saying. You do whatever you want.
Yeah, yeah.
But basically, the implication you get is that if he goes to them and says, "There's these emissaries from Yog," he thinks they're just going to kill you, right, or try to kill you. Do it now, basically, is what he's implying.
So they won't hear us out.
Well, we
doesn't
don't
sound
really
like
want to meet with the king and queen anyway. We just want to get into the palace
Right.
and steal that little.
If the goal was to
rigmarole.
get here, you're here. And so he's like, I will go talk to them, and like turns to head, so I sort of walk back into the trees. Is there anything you guys want to do? Any other questions?
Are
you wanna ask
there
him?
more of the escort around us, or
You can make a perception if you want.
I shall?
I'll try.
17.
You do not see any, but you did not see any before either.
Yeah,
you knew there was some movement at certain times, but you don't currently see them. If they are there, you don't know where they would be.
9.
9. No. You guys are standing there at the base of these trees as the elf kind of nods and then disappears into the foliage. All Hail Yog is an Experience Points production. It was directed and dungeon mastered by Timothy J. Meyer. Agnoment is played by Kate Enge at I Don Quixote on Twitter. Desdemonia is played by Heather Lore at Land of Lore on Instagram. Dr. Hughbert is played by Cody Bushee at Cody Bushee on Twitter. Erick Idylvain is played by Paul Vonasek at Paul Vonasek on Twitter. You can find the show on Twitter at XP Web Series. Our audio engineer was Tim Alvarez. The game was played using the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition rule set, as owned by Wizards of the Coast. The main titles are A Night on Bald Mountain by Modest Mussorgsky, performed by the Skidmore College Orchestra. Additional music includes String Quartet No. 8 by Dmitri Shostakovich, performed by the Lawrence Street String Quartet. The Dante Symphony by Franz Liszt, performed by the Berlin Philharmonic. Dream of a Witch's Sabbath by Hermann Berlioz, performed by the Concertgebouw Orchestra. We claim no rights on any music used. Thanks for listening, and Yog before all.